Hi, everybody. So, welcome to my channel, Dreaming of My Allotment. I started this channel a little bit more than a year ago, so 1.5, I think. But since December, I've been doing live streaming in English. One of the reasons is that I actually decided that already for a year ago, but it took me more time to just, get in tune with doing it in English. So one of the reasons is that I have a lot of family living down under in Australia, and the other reason is that it's actually a great big community when it comes to allotments in England. But also some allotments is in Australia, but mostly in England, and that's actually on my side of the world. So I want to be a part of that community. I've been watching the communities there in Britain for more than 2 years. I think actually 3 years. I think I'm going to bring a little bit more light because if you notice, everything's quite red. So wait a minute. Okay, now it looks much better. So today we're going to talk about geranium. Geranium is actually a quite big family, but we're going to talk about the one that we call paler geraniums, autumns. That's not the kind that I actually grow, because I have one that's called Mårbacka. It is a Swedish old geranium. One of the reasons that I grow that kind of a geranium is that I love it because it has a little bit more wilder way of growing, and it actually can get quite big. Mine are actually small, all of them, because I just bought them this year. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut them down because they're going to go into to a rest for the winter season. As you know, we just recently got snow here in the south. Before that, it was quite hot. So I've been having my geraniums outside. I picked them in for, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they have been standing in. I gave them a lot of water when I just picked them in, but after that, they have been standing dry. So the soil in every plant is quite dry. You can see here, it's very dry. But still, the leaves are green, and even on some of the plants, you can see the flowers are coming. So what we're going to do today is cut them down, because right now they're quite tall and they are in some way bushy. Some even have quite strange forms. I don't really appreciate that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of an antiseptic. Normally you use oxygen peroxide, but here in Sweden, it's not that easy to go and buy that at pharmacies anymore. So instead, I'm going to take a natural septic. I'm going to use cinnamon. You see here, I have cinnamon here. And I'm also going to use a tops. I don't know what you call this in English, actually, but this is like a little a cotton pillow on the end, and it's a pin. I don't know. Tops. That's actually what we say here in Sweden. I don't know if it's the same in English. So what are we going to concentrate? Why do I need the cinnamon? And how do I take care of my plants before I cut them down before the winter? So normally you would do this maybe in August or October if you live in the middle part or north of Sweden. But here down in the south, you can actually wait until the end of the year. If you have been doing a one cutting earlier this year, you can actually take it out for a second cutting to make it even more firmer. But it's very important that you don't water it for at least 3 to 4 days before, and even that much after. So if I cut them down today, I can't water them for 4 days. What you do after that, you actually put them somewhere cold. You could have them in a garage or like in glass room, but it depends on the temperatures. Geranium, they can stand staying actually quite cold, but depending on what degree it is, you have to water them at the same amount. So if you have a room or a garage that's like, let's say 10 or 12 degrees Celsius, then you will need to water them 10 to 12 times a year, during the period that they are in the winter rest. If you have a room that's colder than that, let's say 4 to 5 degrees, then you just water them 4 to 5 times during the same period. So the temperature marks how many times you need to water it, not anything else. Okay, so 1, today if I cut them, they need to be dehydrated. So no water for 3 to 4 days ahead before we cut them. Number 2, when we cut them, we let them stay without water for 4 to 5 days. 3, every new cutting needs to be treated septically. So I'm going to use cinnamon, or you can use oxygen peroxide, O2H2O2. Maybe OH2. So, but that you need to buy in a pharmacy. I don't know, maybe even somewhere else, but for us here in Sweden, we have pharmacies. So, what more do I need? Of course, I need a really sharp pair of scissors, and they need to be clean so there's no bacteria or anything else on them. And after that, we're just going to keep them as they are. What's very important to keep in mind is that geranium, they are actually grown in the South of America, like South America, and there they have a season where it is cold, but not as cold as it is on the North Hemisphere. So here we need to let them rest. Normally, if you keep them inside where you have a room temperature that maybe goes up to 18 to 22 degrees, you can keep them alive during the whole season. You maybe don't take as much nutrition in the water as you do when you have them during the summer when they are flowering at the most. Normally, when you get the plants, you just water them a bit in the beginning, and then in the mid-June, July, you start giving them a lot of nutrition, like every other day. When you water them, they are okay if they dry out a bit, but you still need to water them quite often, you know. So you can both have geranium in pots. You can plant them out in your grass lawn if you want to, but you need to dig them up when it comes to the winter time. When it comes to the soil needs to be well drained, and it has to be a lot of sun where they are growing, because otherwise they won't grow as good as they normally do. They are very easy to make new plants of. Like here, if we took away this one here, we could have a new plant. The only thing we would do is take away 1 flower and leave 3 leaves. So I will probably take away the top leaf and the flower like this. So, and then I will take off this knob like this. Keep a little bit of the skin with it, so you have a clean cut here. This we just put down in soil or water, and it will start getting roots. Okay, so we can keep this so you can remember. Okay, so how do I cut my geranium then? This one I would actually cut quite hard. I would count the nodes. I want to keep 2 to 3 nodes. So if I count from the root down here is the first one. 1, 2, 3. This would stay. But everything above that, I will cut. So I will make my cut quite close to that leaf. And this one, I can either make more cuttings to keep for coming years, because it's actually a vibrant plant. So from this plant, I got 4 or 5 new ones. Let's see. I will take this one that time. Okay. So, and this stem, I will just throw away because there's no use in it. So you see, and here I have a fresh cutting now. There it is. Can you see it? The fresh cutting is there. I'm going to keep it there while I'm taking the cinnamon on the stick. Here is cinnamon on my stick, and I will put it up on this area. So, can you see it? It is quite brown now. You can't see the milky stem anymore. Take a little bit more. Okay. So now I just keep this back in the pot and put it on this place on my board. And then how much water I will give it will be not until, let's say, 3 to 4 days. Okay, so I will take the next one. So let's repeat. This one doesn't look like much right now, right? I think even one of the stems are already dead. But what we're going to do is still count the nodes. Like it's like an eye on the stem. I don't know if you see it here, but you got 1 there, 2 there, and 3 there. So above the third one, we will cut it. Do the same on the other side. I think we have like 1 there, 2 there, and 3 there. And above 3, it's already dead. So we're actually cutting away something that is dead, and that's not so bad. So we're going to throw the stems. And now we're going to count this big one. 1, 2, 3. So, and here we go. Below the one. You see, it's really, really low. And why I'm doing it so hard is because I want the plants to be bushy and narrow in the beginning. And then when they find their way wherever I grow them, they will grow more closer with more leaves and more flowers. So let's see. Now I put the cinnamon on, and the cinnamon is on the stems because we don't want any bacteria to come near here and make the plant die out, because it's quite hard cut. 3 eyes, 3 nodes on every stem. That's the only thing you need when you cut them in December. But remember, don't water them for 3 to 4 days after cutting them. And don't water them before cutting them either. Actually, for 3 or 4 days as well. I'm going to repeat this all over again. Remember, they are from the south of Africa. So, did I say south of Africa? I mean south of America. Sorry, people. Stay with me. If you have any questions, put them. Hi, I see we have a follower on. That's nice. Welcome. Okay, so what we're doing today, we are cutting our geraniums. I live in Sweden, so the geranium I have in my allotment that I have in my cabin or in my tiny house is Mårbacka. It's a very old sort of geranium, and it's typical for the Swedish countryside. It's like a countryside cottage flower. But it's based in Sweden. So what I'm doing right now is cutting them down. I haven't watered them for a couple of weeks, actually. So mine are more dry than 3 or 4 days. But that's because I really want to cut them deep down. I want them to be more firm and more compact and more bushier. When I bought them from the store, they were really tall and long already, but I got them quite cheap. So that's why I took a chance and said, I will take care of this, because normally a plant like this and this side, when it's growing, it will cost you more than like $10 if it's Australian dollars, of course. And that's quite expensive. Now I have like 12 plants, and I paid $1, $1.50. So I think that's a good business. So what I'm doing right now, cutting them down. But what I also do is that I rescue the ones that I can replant, and then I will get, double up or third up the plants that I have. One reason I do this is because we have every year a big day that's called Open Gardens. And when we have open gardens, we let people come, and we also sell different plants there. So we will get more money to the allotment community. With that money, we can do buildings or decorations for the allotment area and so on. So you know, it's okay to make more plants. I guess all of us like to do more plants because that's what we're doing. At least I am every year, doing more plants than I actually can plant out. Okay, so let's go through it again. Don't water your plant for 3 days or 4 days before cutting. When we cut them 3 eyes or nodes from the bottom. 1, 2, 3. So this one we will cut above and under the sleeve, and quite nice cut. If I want to keep one, I will take off the leaves ahead and just keep like 3 leaves. Which one do I want? I want those 3 because they're more inclined with each other. So, and I will take away all the extra leaves because they're just going to take nutrition from the plant. And then here's a flower. Here is a flower. We take away that because the flower is going to take the nutrition as well from the plant. So here I have a new cutting to just put down in a pot or in vermiculum, whatever you choose to keep it in to grow more plants. Okay, so let's continue. We have one more stem to do here. Let's see, where is the first eye? It's down here, 1, and then it's quite far up, 2 and 3, and there is a leaf, and there is a leaf. So between those 2, I will cut it, and I will make a clean cut, and I don't want to keep anything from that. So it goes down, and now we are back to putting the cinnamon on. So we sterilize the areas, so no bacteria will come and destroy the plant. Okay. You can use oxygen peroxide as well to protect the plant. But in our country now, Sweden, it's quite hard to get that from the pharmacy if you don't have a recipe from someone like a doctor or a veterinarian. I think you could get it as well. So I use cinnamon. It's natural, and you can actually find it everywhere in most stores. After we cut the plant, we water it. We don't water it until 4 to 5 days. I'm going to keep my plants in my garage. My garage has a temperature of below 10, I think. That means I'm going to water them like 10 times before I'm going to bring them out again and make them blossom. They are not going to grow much. They're going to have like a rest, and then they're going to slowly start growing again. And you will notice it by the nodes where they have all the power to grow a leaf or a flower. That's where it will start. So here is going to be a growth. Here is going to be another growth. Here and down here. So it's going to be compact, and that is my goal with cutting them as far as I'm doing. So I'm going to take one. Think that this plant has been dried for like 3 weeks. 3 weeks, and there is still flowers growing on it. I've been keeping them in my living room, and I have to be honest, my living room is not so hot. In the wintertime, I don't put on the heat on more than one radiator, I think, and that radiator is by the biggest window. Otherwise, I don't put on the radiators. I don't like it too hot inside. I rather, put on a lot of cozy clothes and socks on my feet, and I will crawl down under a blanket in my sofa. I really love that. And then I will have a lot of candles that I light, and that would be my heating source. Right now here in Sweden, especially in the south of Sweden, we have a really high charge when it comes to electricity, and that is because most electricity is from the north of Sweden. So if you live up in the north, you wouldn't pay that much as you do when you live down in the south, as I do right now. But to be honest, I actually do this always. I'm not a fan of a lot of heat inside because I think that's quite, I don't know. I get a dry nose. I don't like it. It makes my eyes itch. And also, I don't like to sweat inside. I don't have anything about sweating, but then I want to know that I've been training or working or maybe digging in the allotment. Then that's totally okay, but not inside. Inside, I'd like to, cuddle up and just make everything cozy and warm with candles and not normal light. Okay, so what is the challenges with the geraniums? One of the most common challenges is uh, that when you replant them, the cuttings that we did, that you make them too wet, and then they will actually drown. That's a funny way of saying it, but that was happened. They drown and then they rotten. So that's something you have to be really taken in consideration when you replant them. The other thing that I think you should think about as well is what kind of size do you want on your plant? Do you want your plant to grow high and tall? Don't cut them as much as I do. Cut them lower. You could actually cut them down here somewhere. And then you will still have a nice plant. But I really want to start from the beginning with mine. I want to make them more bushier and more, cozy, round. So I'm going to cut them quite hard. Okay, so I will do one more and then I will call it for now. So let's repeat. Don't water for 3-4 days before cutting. When you cut, use a sharp knife or a cutter like this. Consider the 3 nodes that you want to cut from and count 1, 2, and 3. So this one I will actually cut here, just 1 node under the flower, like that. If I want to keep them and make new plants of them, I will take away the flower because the flower takes a lot of nutrition from it. And then I will just keep 3 leaves. So I'll take the bottom leaf down and then you will see I will get a really nice and subtle little plant from this. Also, make sure that your cutting has a wide area down for the roots to come from. Okay, bear with me. Here, I don't want to cut anything. I will just take away this big leaf because that's a little node. And the same for here. It's not 3. I'm just taking away the big leaf. So it won't take so much nutrition away from it. Okay. And then we have 1, 2, and 3. So I will cut this one here. So, and is there anything here I want to keep? Well, I could if I wanted to, but I have a lot here. I think, maybe one more, but I think this one looks better. I'm going to take this one away with the flower and that leaf. We have 3 leaves here, and then we will cut it quite narrow. Oh, it was a bit of a dead stem there. So, okay, guys, I think you figured it out now, right? So it's a lot of 3s here. Don't water for 3 days. Cut it 3 nodes or eyes from the first, from the bottom of the stem. And then wait 3 to 4 days or more before you water them again. And then don't water them so often. So for me, I'm going to have them in a room where it is approximately 10 degrees or below 10. So for me, I wouldn't water them more than 10 times before it's growing time. And so 10 times during the winter rest. Okay, so this was about geranium and the Swedish sort Mårbacka. I hope you enjoyed my video and that you found it educational. I will do a new video during the week where I actually will start doing the plants of these tubs, but right now I'm just going to put them in some water. Okay, if you have any questions, please don't feel embarrassed, just ask. There is no bad questions or stupid questions or so. All questions are good because we learn something, or I will learn something by you asking. Second of all, thumbs up or thumbs down if you want me to continue doing this kind of educational stuff. Please write a comment as well about that. So I hope you have a great week. We are going to New Year's Eve this week. So I hope you all are going to bring and celebrate the new year that comes. If we don't see each other before that, take good care of you. And remember that we can still dream and all our dreams can come true. So thank you for watching Dreaming at My Allotment. Bye-bye.